Hello, I'm Dr. Nick, the incrementalist, and today we're talking about water. In this case, not the rain that we seem to have been enduring over the last several weeks everywhere, except the places that they seem to need it most over on the West Coast, but rather the water of life, drinking water and how much water you need and your body's requirements. So first off, why does your body need water? Well, we're actually made up mostly of water. Estimates vary, and it also changes depending on age, but starts off at around 70% or so as you're very young. That declines, and it's slightly different based on gender. There's an interesting fact about water and fat cells. The fat cells don't contain as much water. That's part of the process for those weighing scales that give you that estimate of a BMI. It's an inferred measure based on the conduction and the difference in conduction of electricity through water and non-water that's in your body, so they measure through your feet. Back to the water. So why does your body need water? Well, everything in your body functions using water. Your blood is made up of water, plus all the cells and the plasma and so forth. All of this percentage, it's essential to all of the body functions. So if you don't have enough water, that's a problem. So what is the minimum requirement? So the general guidance has been these 8 cups of water, about 2 liters or so. And there's not hard science to tell us exactly how much water we need to drink, but that's a good estimate. One of the basic guiding factors, and I tell you from an incremental standpoint, the thing to think about is you should be drinking throughout the day, even when you're not thirsty. So I would suggest to you that if you're thirsty, you've already become too dehydrated. So incremental step number 1, have some water with you. And it can be other things. It can be tea, coffee, even though some of those have caffeine and that's a diuretic. It actually causes your body to excrete or get rid of water. It's still producing more water for your body than it's actually excreting. So that's a good thing. So incremental step number 1, have water with you. Make it a cup or one of the devices that you get in the gym. If you want to use a straw, that's okay, but make sure it's clean. Don't allow that straw to get dirty, and certainly don't leave it hanging around. Moisture is almost always associated with bacterial growth. So if you're not keeping it clean, that's going to be a problem from a health standpoint. So have water. It can be in a cup. If you like ice, have ice. I love ice. I love crunching ice. I know my dentist hates that. Maybe that's the case for you too. If you don't, that's okay. If you want to drink warm water, that's okay too. But make sure you drink lots of water. What are the other factors that influence our water requirements? Well, let's come to that. So there's some obvious points in time when you do need water. Obviously when it's dry, it's hot, but even when it's not hot, we still need to be drinking water. But here's the other very specific time. What about when you're exercising? Well, exercise induces sweating. That's part of the body's purpose of cooling. We sweat, the sweat evaporates, and that actually reduces the temperature of our body, which is important because our muscles produce heat. And if you go to any gym, you go running, one of the key things is to have water available. And what you'll find in many of these gyms is, of course, those water coolers. Make sure you use it, make sure that's part of your exercise routine. And if you're really smart, hydrate beforehand so that you're not worrying about that hydration as part of your exercise. So incremental step when you exercise, or at any point when there's increased need for water and hydration, make sure to do so beforehand and before you actually start to feel thirsty. We'll talk about one other special circumstance in a second. So here's the special circumstance for water. It's travel. If you're wondering why, well, it turns out that airplanes have very low humidity levels. It's extraordinary that we travel in these things, but we know very little about them, and they actually suck the water out of you. So in terms of getting hydrated, travel is one of the most important places where you need to stay hydrated. So the next time you're traveling, incremental step, make sure that you take something on board with you and make sure that you keep filling it on a regular basis. For those of you that like this video, if I could ask a favor, please like it in the comments below. And if you didn't, leave me some comments in the section. Let me know what I can do better. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm Dr. Nick. I'm the Incrementalist. Don't let perfection stand in the way of progress.